Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leo Mookie here, back with you with another new chapter of the Prince's Gundams. Once again, thanks a lot for the support that you guys do for me on this channel when it comes to my Geass fics. Just like my Gundam fics, I know that they don't get a lot of views and support, especially that of my Worm crossovers as well. But even so, I still love doing them and knowing that I still have an audience for them as well. At any rate, with all that said, let's go through that, have a quick recap and get straight into the chapter. We basically go over that of a quick refresher and time skip with that of Lelouch and Nonali during that of the destruction of Japan and the creation of Area 11, as it was rough for that of the siblings alongside that of their childhood friend Suzaku. However, over that of a few years, Suzaku vanished, leaving the twins all alone before being picked up by that of Millie and the Ashfords, who lost that of their Duke title from originally supporting that of their mother, but now regained their nobility, but only as that of a Viscount family, and now hiding out at that of the school known as Ashford Academy, as Millie and that of her family are basically ordered to look after Lelouch and Nonali by that of Calvis. Not only that, Calvin has basically been supporting the siblings from the side as well by giving Lelouch and Nonali their own personal trust funds, a monthly allowance that allows Lelouch to basically live while still going to the school, and also helping out Nonali gain back that of her eyes and sight, but one step at a time, regaining that of her legs to that of certain gene therapy, where now she could use that of blind stick to help her walk around, but still has Sayako to look after her though. Not to mention, Lelouch has always appreciated Calvin's support. However, just like before, the plot still kicks in, him getting involved with that of the resistance group of Shinjuku, finding about Colin, finding that Suzaku is still alive, but is with that of the Britannian military, him getting caught up in that of the Shinjuku ghetto massacre, him meeting C2, and him gaining his Geass. However, this will change though, as Calvis is here to support his little brother and protect him as well, like he always promised to. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? Chapter 3, Mobile Suit versus Knightmare. Several hours before that of Lelouch gaining his Geass and Calvis and Lelouch meeting back up with each other, as Calvis is in that of his own personal and remotely controlled cockpit bay back in that of his estate in Pendragon, as he's piloting that of the Chivalry Gundam, a computer basically saying, "Your Highness, the Chivalry Gundam isn't fast enough or that of powerful enough to have flights that can travel across that of the Pacific Ocean. Not only that, it would be noticed in that of certain airspaces." Within, Calvin couldn't help but roll his eyes, saying, "I'm aware of that. That's why I always come prepared. Get the hypersonic jet ready and put the Chivalry Gundam in that of its cargo case. Once I'm in Japan, I can just remote control pilot the cavalry back to that of Hokkaido after all, given that I own that of the entire island, to be honest." As the computer saying, "Understood, sir. But one more thing, should I ask?" Saying, "Ugh, fine. Just get everything loaded up, though." As that of the Chivalry gets loaded up into that of a container bay, as it soon shift up, that's when a certain Blackbird jet is being prepared. What would happen if that of your personal knights find out that you are that you are fighting in that of Japan, and they have no idea about this, saying, "Oh, they'll be fine. It's not like I'm actually putting myself in danger or anything like that." And not to mention, the Chivalry Gundam is a mobile suit. It's not a Knightmare frame, which they will see it as a Knightmare frame though. So, anonymity is what I gain. Not to mention my spies and that of Area 11 as well, alongside that of me hacking into almost half the security through that of Area 11 due to my spies as well. Whatever Clovis is doing, I can basically figure it out and basically discredit him on why he's basically causing this senseless massacre. And most likely, Lelouch is in the center. The guy, he may act like he doesn't care about anything, but in reality, he's a good guy. Generally cares about others, even without even asking to do so. The world's just hurt him so much to the point he's willing to blacken his heart if it means to allow other people to relieve their anger, hatred onto him, or is to be seen as the bad guy. Instead, I'll bear his hatred. I'll bear his pain. It's what a big brother does, after all. As for my knights, well, I'll cross that line when I get to it. Is everything settled? Within, the Blackbird is now have the cargo bay in it settled onto it. Before then saying, yes, bird ready to go, saying, then launch it. I got at least out of a few seconds before pretending airspace finds something that's in it. But once they figure it out, my jet would be long gone, alongside. But then, as soon as saying that, that's when the jet hits the runway and then blasts off into the sky. So fast before Britannian air scanners could even catch it. Already high in the sky. With then saying, go max speed. And then, when you see the perfect angle at this trajectory, launch the cargo and the cavalry Gundam. But then, the computer commenting saying, yes, your highness, understood. Calvin couldn't help but think, to think that I had to accelerate my plans a lot more sooner than normal. What the hell is the hell are the goddamn resistance group doing all the way out there? But then, looking over the systems from that of the Area 11 Government Bureau, as everything looking the same, nothing changing, something about urban development by basically leveling one half of a ghetto to basically expand, turning that of Shinjuku back into that of the prosperous Shinjuku. But then realizing, wait, what? That stupid plan? I hate it when people in viceroys get the idea of basically destroying what's left of Natus' home just so they can basically expand even more. It takes away the beauty of the country that it once was. Pretendifying everything is so annoying. But then thinking, wait, why accelerate it? It's supposed to happen like that of 2 years and that of 5 months from now. But then, looking over, as he then looks over that of the dark secret files, the files that he originally planned on looking over with that of his knights, but decided to do it himself, to look over it himself, especially in the situation on why Clovis would accelerate his plans. But then, looking over it, saying, Project C? What the hell is Project? But then, finally looking over that of the project known as Project C, saying, a girl that's basically known to be an immortal that cannot die? No matter what they do, they have burned her, shot her, cut her up, suffocated her. No matter what they do, she can't die. Holy shit, that seems like something from a goddamn horror movie. Immortality isn't that of a gift, it's a goddamn curse. Especially in the gruesome ways that some people have died. Jesus Christ. The fuck have you been doing, Clovis, to torture somebody like this? But then, looking more and over the files, especially the lab reports, before reading them, saying, Subject C has basically signs of full-on regeneration. No matter what they do, she always comes back to life no matter what. Shoot her in the head, shoot her in the heart, shoot her in other vital organs, she'll always just come back up after a few seconds. Cut off her limbs and they'll just regrow themselves. Burn her alive and her skin will basically go back to normal, like her skin didn't go through that of third-degree burns. They even put her in that of a vacuumless tube as well, completely suffocating her. Soon when they added the oxygen back, she came back to life. But then looking over the lab work again, saying they planned on so much other shit. But then realizing they pretended that the case that she was in was toxic gas? Clovis, what the hell were you thinking? Any rebel forces would basically want the toxic gas to use it against the Britannian forces. Ah, damn it! I knew he wasn't cut out to be a leader. He should have just stuck to his damn paintings. No, this is all because of his mother, pushing him in the leading role so he can gain that of more in the line of succession and bring more prestige to the La Britannian name. God damn it. Within, seeing that he's almost arriving instead of the airspace around that of Japan, now known as Area 11, saying, "All right, on my mark, open up the containers and allow the cavalry to use its boosters to repel it forward. I'll slingshot myself straight for the ghetto." Within, the computer saying, "Understood, sir. Also, track Lelouch's phone after all. There's a GPS tracker on it that allows me to track him and Nonnally after all." Within, seeing his screens basically shift and change, trajectorating that of the location on where Lelouch is, using that of his smartphone that he gave him. Within, realizing, God damn it, he really is in the Shinjuku ghetto. I was just thinking that out loud, but yet he actually is here. Damn it all. Within, soon realizing, scratch that. Get me to the closest area where I can basically go and help out Lelouch. Within, saying, that will take a lot of calculations and rerouting, sir. Just do it! Within, the Blackbird begins to shift before reaching higher altitude. Within, saying, trajectory changed. You are clear to take off, Your Highness. Saying, Roger. This is Calvis Ray Britannia in Cavalry Gundam. Ready to launch! Within, soon, was launched out of that of the cargo bay. Before then, using his thrusters on his back, accelerating forward, as then the burners head straight for that of the Shinjuku ghetto. As the Cavalry Gundam is capable of flight, but however, the flight mode is completely limited. Using the flight mode to basically slingshot him alongside the Blackbird into that of the Shinjuku ghetto, where he already sees that the massacre is already on way. Within, saying, not on my watch. As then he pulls out that of his two twin swords, his Varus sword and his fire sword. As the fire sword is basically glowing that of a pure golden yellow, as it almost looks like it's made out of pure energy itself. As the Varus sword basically is that of a regular metal sword. However, it basically vibrates at that of a high function, a prototype weapon that a certain Earl of Pudding has been wanting to develop for a while now. Unfortunately for him, his competitors, literally the Genius Prince, basically beated him to it. As he begins to have that of a crash landing, within him slacking up that of his back thrusters, before then sliding onto the ground, as then several Knightmares seeing the commotion behind them. Before then, in that of a quick motion of his two blades, he soon slices that of the Knightmares in half, as four Knightmares all cut into two, bisected from in the middle, causing them to explode. However, their cockpit's still intact though. Within, Calvis couldn't help but think, this is my first time fighting in full-on combat. I'm not gonna lie, part of me is scared. Part of me really doesn't want to kill the lives of my fellow countrymen. But within, soon, one of the soldiers in that of a Knightmare frame, while some soldiers gathering up that of a Levians and about to shoot and about to execute them. However, Calvacine is saying, however, maybe it's better if I slaughter a few animals here and there. No need to make the entire species go extinct, as they say. As that of the Cavalry Gundam's eyes glow that of a menacing yellow. Before then, slaughtering each and every one of the Knightmares and that of the soldiers on the ground. Before then, putting that of his swords away for bringing out that of his long-range weapons, two machine guns, one being a pull-front machine gun and the other being a Gray's short-barrel machine gun. Within, shooting out of the multiple bullets at that of the soldiers on the ground and the soldiers in that of their nightmare frames heading straight for that of his little brother. Within, back in that of Prince Clovis's G1 base. Within, Colonel Bartley can help but say, "What? What's going on? Why are so many of our forces being obliterated? The resistance group shouldn't have." Within, one of the operators saying, "Colonel, we are getting that of readings from that of a unique nightmare frame. It's not using any form of securidite. We don't know what energy source it's using." Within, that of the African Britannian couldn't help but look completely shocked, saying, "What?" Within, that of Clovis could help but say, "Why? Why is this happening now?" As couldn't help but grit that of his long blonde hair, saying, "All units, intercept that of the new unit that has come to the battlefield. Whatever it is, make sure to take it out." As the blonde-haired prince could help but basically bite on that of his glove, as he feeling frustrated about what's going on. Currently on the battlefield, that's when Jeremiah Gottwald, Count of the Gottwald family, and head of the Puritan faction, could help but say a new nightmare frame is on the battlefield. Within, that of a orange-haired redhead with that of a smug, annoying face, being that of Kuehl, saying, "Lord Jeremiah, what unit do you think? Do you think these 11 dogs basically found a way to bring out another nightmare frame like a Glasgow, or probably stole one of our Sutherlands?" But then Jeremiah couldn't help but scoff, saying, "Like these dogs know anything about." Before then, they could finish a barrage of bullets basically laid down both that of the soldiers on the ground and those in that of their nightmare frames. However, Kuehl and Jeremiah, on the other hand, was able to dodge it at that of good timing. Within ensued, Kuehl saying, "Enemy above us!" Within, Kuehl completely shocked, saying, "What the hell is that?" As for Jeremiah, his eyes couldn't help but be completely and utterly shocked. Within saying, "What? That's no nightmare frame. Not one I've ever seen." Within, without warning, it basically flies off in that of blinding speeds. Within, saying, "What? It's moving so fast. I don't think it's using road splitters. I think it's able to fly." Within, Kuehl saying, "Lord Jeremiah, what's going on? Shouldn't we call Lady Valletta to come to help us aid us?" Within, Kuehl saying, "Lord Jeremiah? Lord Jeremiah!" As Jeremiah is basically going through that of somewhat close to that of a PTSD flashback, or rather, reminiscing about good old times, back when he was still one of the personal guards in the royal guard of the V. Britannia family, back at Ares Villa, remembering that of a certain little toy that a certain prince always made for his siblings. Within thinking, it can't be. Within, at that of top speed, heading straight for that of Lelouch's location as the signal gets bigger and bigger, before then running through that of the building, seeing that of his younger brother, basically a lot more scrawnier and taller than he was before when he last saw them. Within, saying, Lelouch, are you okay?" Seeing that of the SD Gundam, within realizing, "Oh, wait, Calvin, is that you? Why are you here?" Without any words, and with almost somewhat of smugness in his tone, saying, "Isn't it obvious, little brother? I said I would be there for you whenever you needed me, right?" Within, hearing that, Lelouch's memories began to surge from those words and words alone, with realizing, "Yeah, I guess you did, didn't you?" Within, he couldn't help but smirk. However, through that of his left eye, he releases that of a single tear, remembering that promise all those years ago. Realizing even with all the other side stuff that he's done for them, he always did say he would be there for them. But then, realizing, but how are you even here? And what the heck is... Within realizing, it's one of those Gundams that you told me about. I didn't think that you would actually... We'll talk later. Right now, we need to get you to... Within, soon, here, seeing that of his comms, that he sees a nightmare frame heading straight for him. As he's about to fight it, Within, soon, Lelouch basically saying, Calvin, get out of here. Wait, what? What the hell you... Just do it. I'll explain later. After that, he soon flies off in the distance as the person who was shooting at that of Calvis being Valletta, as she brings down that of her Sutherland's assault rifle, saying, damn it, what the hell is that thing? Within, soon, noticing that of Lelouch, as that of the African Britannian woman can up and say, who are you? What is a student doing out here? Within, Lelouch saying, I'm just a student. I got caught up in all of this. I'll let you know that I'm actually from Ashford Academy. I'm part of that of a noble family with the rank of Duke. Within, soon hearing that, saying, a Duke's child. Huh, this would be easy. Within, seeing that Valletta is basically removing that of her activation key and also getting out of the pilot's seat. However, Calvin sees this saying, what the? Is she getting out of her seat? Within, looking at saying, wait, that's Valletta new. Within, basically zooming in on her using his systems as seeing, yeah, that's definitely her. I remember hearing about her back in Pendragon, a commoner girl that basically rose up in the ranks and in that of Pendragon's, academy actually, due to her abilities in that of Knightmare combat. Huh. Looks like Jerry still believes in that of Lady Marianne. The idea is that a commoner can actually reach the status of nobility and royalty in imperialness as well. However, so looking at all of the destruction over the ghetto, within realizing so many innocent people are dying right now. Within the computer, as then his assistant's computer spoke up saying, Your Highness, the Sutherland, it's starting to react, saying, what? And within, looking down, thinking that, Lelouch! Before realizing, wait, Valletta's down there. Before then realizing, wait, did Lelouch just end up taking her Sutherland? How? Within, contacting that of his phone and his sister through that of his communication. Before then saying, I'm guessing you are worried how I got this Sutherland. Saying, yeah, I am, little brother. But now's not the time. We need to focus on helping out these people. Within, Lelouch saying, wait, you genuinely want to help these people? I thought you only came here for me. Saying, well, actually, I came here because I saw what was happening here in Japan. But I also had a sixth sense and a feeling that you would also be here. With Lelouch raising an eyebrow through that of his communications, as he's basically on speakerphone through his phone instead of, that of actual communication through that of their mobile suit and Knightmare, saying, you knew I would be here, saying, hey, as much as of a hard ass that you have become over the years, you're still a kind-hearted person. You're not the kind of person that just leaves somebody to suffer after all if you can help them. Within, hearing that saying, you think way too highly of me, older brother. Within, Calvin kept saying, maybe, but it's still you. Within, saying, all right, but we need to focus on helping out the resistance group and the civilians as well. So, how you want to do this? And don't start using that of chess metaphors to basically do things. I've been trying to get you out of that habit for a while now. Within, Lelouch, having that of a small tinted blush, could up and say, God, you're so annoying about that. Before clearing his throat, saying, well, very well, but we still need strategy and tactics. So, graduate of the Imperial Pendragon Academy, have anything in mind? Saying, I got at least a few things. How about we find a way to get the signals of that of the resistance groups? Computer, Kenyu saying, understood. Within, going through that of certain frequencies, radio waves, as it's, after a few seconds, finally found them, saying, wait, what's going on? Who's on this line? Saying, Scott was about to speak up, before then, closing his mouth, before whispering, saying, hey, computer, synthesize my voice. I don't want them knowing on who I am just yet. My voice is way too recognizable after all. Hearing that saying, understood, Your Highness. Before synthesizing a voice similar to that of Calvin, but still different enough where people wouldn't recognize him directly, saying, all resistance group, listen to me now. I can't give you my name, but I'm here to help you. I promise. As then a loudmouth voice over that of the radio saying, "Who the hell is this? Who took our signal code?" Saying, "Oh boy, we got one of those." Within, soon, the calm voice from earlier came up and say, "Who are you really? And what do you mean you're here to help?" Within, another resistance group, as it being that from a pretty chill but also somewhat timid guy, saying, "I remember hearing civilians saying that they were saved by another Knightmare frame. But it didn't look like a Knightmare frame. It looked like a giant toy robot." Within, soon, Calvin can up and say, "Hey, SD models are not toy robots. They're meant for special design." Before then, clearing his throat saying, "Look, that was me. Like I said, I'm here to help out. All I'm asking is for your cooperation and to work with me and my partner to help you all out and protect as many civilians while we can." Within hearing that, soon, the guy can up and say, "Who are you?" You can call me Ren." Within hearing that, saying, "Ren? What else? Just call me Ren." Within, Lelouch saying, "Really, Ren? Hey, it's a code name, and just to hide my identity for a bit. And besides, they would trust a Japanese name more than they would trust out of a Britannia name, or just some stupid letter." Within saying, "Fair enough. Even though it is translated through kanji as 0, within, Lelouch thinking, 0. That's pretty catchy, actually." Within, the guy on the line, as through the line, with that of several other resistance groups behind him, as he has that of a brown pompadour, wearing that of a red headband, and that of a custom-made red jacket. As this man is known as Kanami Ogi, leader of the Shinjuku resistance group, or recently made leader of the resistance group, due to its original leader dying, after all. Within, the guy on the other line, as he's right over that of, right over Ogi, as he's basically a tan-skinned individual with that of spiky red hair, wearing also that of a red bandana and that of a blue shirt, having that a machine gun in his hand, as this being Shinichiro Tamaki. Hearing that a new Knightmare frame is on that of the battlefield? You gotta be kidding me. Are we sure we can trust this guy? Within, on that of the line, switching over to that of Colin, trying to get away from that of several Sutherlands, in that of her, Glasgow. However, with only one good arm, she's really having a hard time, especially with that of her land spinners. As Calvin saw this, saying, "How about I help out your comrade in that of the red Glasgow?" Gotta say, having an antique like that on the battlefield is kind of stupid, if I gotta say so. But hey, it shows that how much of a good pilot somebody is if they're able to pilot something like that. Within, the girl saying, "What the hell did you say?" Within, jumping up into the air and flying over to that of the location. Before then, switching over to that of Lelouch saying, "Lelouch, I'm going to patch you into that of the comms and the systems. Once I get their trust, start giving out orders. I'll follow your lead too. Just make sure you don't do anything too stupid though. And if you do, just make sure you don't also fear criticism too much as well." With Lelouch rolling his eyes saying, "Understood, big brother." Still in the air, Calvin can help but smirk before accelerating even further, seeing that of the several Sutherlands chasing down the red Glasgow, pulling out that of his twin machine guns, sending a burst of gunfire down on that of the Sutherlands, with some being hit while some dodging out of the way, with one of them being that of Jeremiah and Kuehl. As then Kuehl saying, "That thing again!" But then Jeremiah saying, "I knew it. It looks exactly like it. Like those toys that His Highness Prince Calvis made. But how? And why?" As then Callan was able to escape them by going down to the underground tunnels. Within, Colin saying, "I was able to escape. It looks like that mysterious friend of ours ended up saving us." With everybody in the resistance group couldn't help but be happy, knowing that Colin's safe. Before then, Calvin gets back on the line saying, "So, do you think I'm genuine now?" Within, hearing this, Ogi can help but say, all right, I get it. You're actually helping us out, and I appreciate that. Good. Now, I'm going to transfer you over to that of my strategist. He's going to give you guys some orders and help out. I'll be also helping out on the battlefield as well. So, try to get along, why don't you? Within hearing that, that's when Lelouch takes over, with his voice slightly modified too, but not to the huge degree like that of Calvin. Within saying, listen here well. Forces that we're facing against are overwhelming us. Even with that of Ren's mobile suit, we're not going to be able to overwhelm them entirely. Within hearing this, Tamaki saying, wait, seriously? Then what's the point? Saying, I said, we're not, as we are now, we're not going to overwhelm them. That's why we're going to use strategy, tactics, and we're going to cheat. Within hearing that, Lelouch can up and say, you always have to simplify things, don't you, Calvin? Even though you're a goddamn genius. Before clearing his throat and having that of a serious look saying, yes, I want you all to follow me, and I will dispose upon you that of code names to differentiate yourselves from one another. You want in that of the Glasgow, you are Q1. The rest of you, you'll be known as that of known as R1, R2, K1, K2, B1, B2, and P1 through 8. With Calvin can help but basically have a twitching eyebrow saying, seriously, I told you not to use the chess piece analogy. But whatever gets done. Within, soon, Lelouch saying, speaking of, Q1, take that of the underground passageway, and you'll find a train. Once you get to the train, bring it to that of the resistance group. It's a present from me to all of you. Within, hearing this, Calvin decides to listen, saying, Roger. Within, a girl over the line saying, Colin, you don't have to. I mean, just because they're here to help us doesn't mean that there's... Within, soon, Calvin speaking up saying, look, it's either help us and save the civilians who were forced into that of your bullshit by stealing the toxic gas, or, better yet, let everybody here die from your mistake. Your choice. Within, hearing this, all of them feeling guilty and a little bit frustrated about their actions being thrown back at them. Within, soon, Ogi saying, do what they say, Colin, saying, understood, Ogi. As she soon rushing to the location where a train is, as Calvin flying over saying, I'll keep an eye on all of you. And don't worry, you could call me your little eye in the sky. With that, within, everybody couldn't help but feel like that was an unnecessary needed pun or joke. Within, Calvin saying, yeah, that was way too cringy even for me. Just know I got your back, Red One. Within, saying, thanks, I feel a lot more better now. As she says this sarcastically, while then finding the train. Within, soon seeing that of several Sutherlands heading her way, with Calvin using that of his machine gun fire to support her and keeping that of the Sutherlands away. But then deciding to land, needing to recharge after all. He can't stay in the air for too long after all. Within, soon seeing that the train was taken. Within, realizing, to think that Clovis would be this stupid and this ridiculous to leave out perfectly good equipment like this in the battlefield. Within, Lelouch could up and say, this is Clovis we're talking about, big brother. You and I know that he was never a tactician. Within, saying, true. Not only that, I feel bad for him being forced into this situation by his mother and father and the system as a whole. He just should have stayed painting back in Pendragon. He would have been an amazing contributions to the arts instead of this. Now he'll just be known as that of a stain on the legacy. Within, Lelouch saying, what do you mean? Within saying, I'll explain later. Just let you know that Clovis's legacy and that of the Law Britannian family will be going down in flames in the next couple of days or so. And the information I've learned, speaking of, you were in that truck. You wouldn't have gotten involved with this unless you got involved with that at the truck. What happened in there? And what happened to the girl too? Saying, wait, you know that too? Saying, yeah, so within, Lelouch wanted to ask more before then realizing that the train with all of the Sutherlands have arrived, saying, we'll talk later. right now, we still have a job to do. Saying, yeah, you're right. Within, seeing that all the resistance group have that of their own, their own nightmare frames now, with Calvin now arriving, with soon everybody seeing that of the cavalry Gundam in person. Within, the guy that was on the line from earlier, as he has that of blue hair, a red bandana, and also that of a long green shirt, saying, "Whoa, look at that thing. That doesn't look like any nightmare I've seen before." Within Ogi saying, "I don't even think that's a nightmare at all." Within saying, "Yo." Within recognizing a voice as it being Calvis or Ren. Within soon Colin saying, "So you're Ren?" Saying, "Yep, that's me." As he gives off that of a bow using that of the cavalry Gundam. As everybody's shocked that he's using that of a traditional Japanese bow instead of just saluting or basically doing a Britannian salute by placing their hand on their chest. Within saying, "Look, we need to get straight into the positions. So everyone, get into that of your Sutherlands, and we need to get ready. You ready to do this, partner?" Within soon, Zalush saying, "Call me Zero." Within saying, "All right, Zero, give us the orders that we need." And Zalush could open smirk saying, "Very well." As he begins to give them their orders and layouts as they get into that of their Sutherlands, with telling them to basically turn off that of their transmission receivers, to basically make them dark and not signal out to that of Clovis. But then Calvin realizing, "I get it. We're going to be using that of guerrilla ambush tactics, alongside that of hit and run tactics as well." Within realizing, what the hell is this? Within looking through over that of the G1 base and also that of over that of Area 11 Security Bureau, within seeing that of a custom-made G1 base loadout, as it's all white. Within realizing, wait a minute, that symbol. Noticing the symbol as it basically looks like that of a dragon with that of wings on it, saying, "Oh, you've got to be shitting me. That's Camelon, Sneasel's private development bureau. I hear that they've been developing a new Knightmare frame, but the rumors say that it's not even a 6th generation Knightmare frame. It's supposed to be," within realizing, "Oh shit. Why here of all places? Why not at that of the Middle East? Or in that of the Chinese Federation? Or that of the AU? Why here of all places, damn it? Ugh." Within, soon Lelouch saying, Ren, are you okay?" Saying, yeah, I'm fine. Just found out that we may have a little problem. I'll inform you as time goes on, but for now, just focus on the plans." Saying, "If you say so, but I expect you to explain." Saying, "Don't worry, I will. Things can just never go my way, and you're always a thorn in my goddamn side, Sneasel." As the tan-skinned prince couldn't help but get even more annoyed thinking about that of his tall, blonde-haired older brother. As currently now, over in that of the G1 base, as Clovis seeing that each and every one of his soldiers being taken out one by one as signal lost on that of the monitor, with each one of the operators continue saying that each soldier being lost by loss. Within, Bartley saying, "This can't be happening. It's like, how the hell are they doing this?" Within, soon Clovis saying, "Enough of this. And I say enough. Send all remaining rear forces to that of the battlefield." Within, soon, somebody coming on the monitor saying, "Yoo-hoo, your highness." Within, as it being that of a certain pale-skinned, white-haired man with that of glasses. It's being the Earl of Pudding, a.k.a. Lloyd Osbloom, and rival to that of Calvis when it comes to that of, comes to technology and design, mainly around that of nightmares and mobile suits. But Lloyd doesn't know about the mobile suits just yet. Within, soon, Clovis could up and say, "Camelon, what do I owe that of the great presence of Earl Osbloom?" But then, soon saying, I've seen that you've had quite a bit of a problem on the battlefield, and you plan on sending all your forces. In case that anything happens, I was wondering if we could do a little bit of a service and a favor for you, Your Highness. But then saying, what sort of favor? But then, having that of a smug looking look on his face, saying, I have a certain prototype Knightmare frame that needs some data collecting. So I was wondering if you need any aid. My Knightmare frame, the Lancelot, is ready. Within that of Bartley couldn't help but scream out of the question! We're not going to let you irregulars get involved in this. Not to mention, didn't you say that you didn't have a devicer for it? Within, Lloyd saying, oh, actually, we just found one just a little while ago. He's already getting patched up as we speak, and he's raring to go in case you need to. So, in case you need our help, we'll be right here. Contact me when you can. Within, Lloyd couldn't help but wave before signing out. Within, soon, Bartley can help say, ugh, such arrogance. As for Clovis, he's basically debating on asking on that of his older brother's special task force to do so, but he'd rather see if he's able to handle this himself. Little did he know, this would basically turn into that of the biggest mistake of his life, with each and every one of the rebel forces getting orders from Lelouch as they're basically pinning and taking down each and every one of the forces. Within, Lelouch giving out more orders saying, R2, K1, flank the forces and head straight for that of location MB, as the two people being that of Yoshida and another guy by the name of Sugiyama couldn't help but say, what? Why? Within, Ren speaking up saying, I know you got some questions, but it's a perfect place to do so. Everybody else, come to my location. It's the perfect place on where we're going to finish off all of Clovis's forces. Within, everybody listening to Ren and Lelouch's orders. Within, even giving out the same orders to that of Colin as well to bring out that of all the forces towards their location. Before then, seeing that of an open way in the bottom, seeing an opening as he soon brings up that of his arms, sending that of a small barrage of miniature missiles from his shoulder guards as they soon land into that of the crevice, saying, this leads to that of the subway. All of you, get out, head out, and if you can find any civilians, help them out as well. Within, hearing this, Tamaki saying, whoa, what is all this about? Within saying, I got a plan. Just want to make sure that all of you don't get caught up in the crossfire after all, and into the chaos as well. Within, soon, hearing this, all of them decide to listen to Calvis, as they all go inside, with Colin being the last one, saying, I hope you're right about this and you're not leading us into a trap, saying, oh, trust me, if I wanted to lead you to a trap, you would all be dead by now. Within, hearing that, she soon just listens. Before then, closing it up with that of a few debris. Within soon, seeing that of several Knightmare frames all heading straight for that of Calvis. But then, all of them say, for the glory of Britannia, take down the mysterious machine! Within, Calvis can up and say, seriously? Man, you guys are all idiots. As over that of 20 to maybe even that of 35 Knightmare frames heading straight for Calvis, as he materializes that of his fire sword, as the glowing yellow blade materializes. Before then, it soon engulfs in that of flames. Within, everybody is completely shocked about this, even that of the Puritans who are still around, like that of Jeremiah and Kuehl, seeing this. Within, soon, Jeremiah saying, what is that thing? Within, saying, no, everybody, get out of there, it's a trap! Before he could finish, that's when Calvis screams out, activating Blazing Slash! Bringing out that of his blade as the flames begin to engulf, before then stabbing the massive blade into the center, causing that of the unstable location on where Calvis is to basically crumble, causing a lot of other Knightmare frames to also crumble at the same time to the ground. Some were able to escape using that of the escape pods, the eject system. However, some were unable to. Not only that, it even brings down on that of several crumbling buildings onto that of the ground too, while those who were able to escape being a small majority, only that of 3 of them, counting Kyo and Jeremiah as well. Within seeing this, saying, "My word." As for that of Calvis, he's basically hovering in the air, not even with a scratch on him. Within flying off into the distance. Within, soon, Kyo can help but say, What the hell is that monster? It looks like a knight, but yet it fights like a demon." Within, Jeremiah saying, "It can't be." Within, remembering back then, saying, "Your Highness, why do you make such choice like that?" Back in Ares Via, about that of 7 to 8 years ago. Within, making that of another SD Gundam. However, this one is a custom model for that of Yuffie, as it's basically all pink. Within saying, "I thought it might be fun. Give them at least something a part of me that I think they enjoy. Besides, I want to show them that the nightmares that we make aren't that terrifying. That we can make other machines made for that of nobility, honor, and royalty like that of the knights of old. That's what a Gundam is." Within, Jeremiah saying, "Gundam, you say? Sounds pretty strong, Your Highness." Saying, "Doesn't it? I know, right? I thought the name was weird too, but it just rolls off the tongue. Gundam. A hero of justice, a knight of the people." I know I'm basically just going out of craziness here, but can't blame me. Given that how some knights act nowadays, you can't help but blame me thinking that a machine alone can also be the old knights of yore of honor, justice, and protecting those who can't protect themselves. Like the good old days. But then, Jeremiah couldn't help but comment saying, maybe you're right, Your Highness." Getting out of the flashback saying, "No, Your Highness, Prince Calvis, you wouldn't, would you?" As he remembers back then about the conversation he had with that of Jeremiah, about that of 5 to 4 years ago, as the flashing from that, showing that of Jeremiah creating his new group, the Puritan faction. Within that of Calvis saying, "So, you're making this group to honor that of Lady Marianne?" Within saying, "I was hoping that you would sign off on this, Your Highness." Within soon looking over saying, "Not a chance in hell." Within saying, "What? But why?" Saying, "Puritan faction, just the very name states that it will only be those of Britannian blood, not allowing anybody else who are even possibly half-blooded to join." Within hearing this saying, "But you can't blame me. It's to honor that of Lady Marianne. Anybody can join that of the Puritans, from even that of low-born commoners, just like that of Her Majesty as well. I thought for sure that I get what you're coming from, but do you really think Aunt Marianne would basically let this? She was always the kind of equalist, even to those who aren't pure Britannian as well. If you want another royal to sign off on this, go to Clovis or even Sneasel. Hell, even Cornelia will basically accept it unless you're useful in that of her campaigns. But for me, like hell, I'll basically support this shit. Sooner or later, you'll go corrupt just like everybody else, Jeremiah." As Calvis walks away, within, Jeremiah couldn't help but look down, as the one prince he always got along with doesn't even believe in his ideals or dreams. With Jeremiah going back to his memory saying, "Your Highness, is this what you wanted to make? The Knight of Justice equal to all? Is this your way to avenge Lady Marianne?" Within seeing each and every one of the forces completely and utterly demolished and destroyed, with then Bartley saying, "It can't be. We've lost." Within, Clovis could help but say, "Not just yet. Get me the Earl now." Within, coming back on the screen saying, "Yoo-hoo, are you ready?" Saying, "Send your prototype dog Earl Osploon, and I expect results. Saying, oh, don't worry, you will. I promise you, you absolutely will. Within, seeing below him as the person who will be piloting that of the 7th generation Knightmare frame, a white Knightmare, completely different from that of a Sutherland, and even the newly 5th generation Knightmare frames, the Gloucesters, don't even compare to this Knightmare frame, which is known as the Lancelot, the first 7th generation Knightmare frame. However, little did they know that there's also another Knightmare frame inside of the hangar, but it's mainly in that of, well, shutdown mode, as it being the sister series to the Lancelot, otherwise known as the Lancelot Club, as it's also white, but you can see patches of blue as well, with the person getting in out of the Knightmare being Suzaku, all healed up and ready to fight. Within saying, with this, I'll be able to find Lelouch within that girl as well. With this, I'll be ready to take down all those terrorists once and for all. Within, soon, that of a blue-haired girl wearing that of an orange military uniform, as is being Lloyd's assistant, Cecile. Within, she's saying, Zaku, we're giving you that of newly added information on that of the battlefield. There's a special made machine out there. We hear rumors that it's able to fly around across the battlefield at that of high speeds. Make sure to keep yourself around. Within, hearing that, Lloyd saying, what? I thought that was a joke. Are you seriously saying that somebody is able to master a float unit already? Within, Sue thinking, no. It couldn't have been Rakshasha. That devilish woman would have been able to figure it out just as much as I did too. No way it's her. But then again, she is somewhat of an annoyance, I will say that. But then, within saying, it has to be. It's that damn genius prince, always getting in my way. Before Lloyd could go on at a full rant, he was soon knocked out by that of Cecile with that of her clipboard. Within saying, sorry about him. He just always says stuff out of the blue, Suzaku. Then saying, I see. And what did he mean by genius prince? Saying, oh, it's just a little rivalry he has with that of the third prince in line to the throne, Calvis Ray Britannia, after all. But nothing you need to worry about. I doubt His Highness has anything to do with this. Within Suzaku saying, alright. Doubtful. Within, remembering all those years ago about Calvis helping Lelouch destroy Britannia. But given all these years have gone by, doubtful he's doing anything, and given what he has been doing as the years have gone by, supporting the common people and in that advancing technology, doubtful it is him, given how much he's against that of military expansion as well. Within, shaking his head saying, it's not Calvin. I know it isn't. Far from it. He only said those words just to humor that of Lelouch, just so he could feel better for himself after all. He'll never let Lelouch or he himself destroy their home. Getting load out, as then lowering that of his right hand, as his land spinners also go down onto the ground, revving them as the tires rev themselves out, saying, Lancelot, heading out! Within, at that a full speed burst, the 7th generation White Knightmare heading into that of the battlefield. Within, as for that of Calvin and Lelouch speaking over the lines in private from that of the resistance group, saying, so you're saying that girl that was in the capsule wasn't toxic gas at all, but a girl who's actually an immortal? Saying, that's what I'm telling you, little brother. I know it sounds crazy, even for me, but you didn't see the documents that I saw. Within saying, so that's what you mean that you plan on burning that of Clovis's family, right? No point of basically letting him still be that of a prince if he's going to do inhumane experiments like this. I know we may be a nation of social Taoism and basically hypocritical bullshits, but let's all be real here. We're still human. We still have our limits on how far we're willing to basically do to people after all. Within, soon, Lelouch saying, I wouldn't say that for sure, but still. What about another thing, though? Saying, I'm guessing you want information on that of if Clovis has anything on that of your mother, if he was responsible for killing her or something. With then saying, of course, you do know how stupid that you sound, right? By saying that, right? With then hearing that, saying, dude, I won't lie. Some people in our family may have had something to do with it. Given that your mother's body is gone missing after all. Saying, what? It was in one of the investigations I had. And not only that, like I said, they also closing the investigation on that of your mother too. The biggest suspects, I have to say, is it has to be either that of, well, Cornelia or that of Big Brother Sneasel. Either those two. Clovis, on the other hand, had nothing to do with it. Remember, he was just as much of a kid. He was just as around the same age as us when we were kids. Remember, he was 4 years older than you and only that of 2 years older than me. But he was also pretty simple-minded and an idiot. Not to mention, all he cared about was basically painting back then. Having fun. You really think a 14-year-old boy like that would have some kind of ideas on how to kill your mother? I mean, possibly his own mother would probably figure something out like that, but doubtful. With then hearing this, Lelouch deciding to sigh, saying, "You're right, big brother. You're absolutely right. I shouldn't probably try." And within soon, without warning, seeing out of another nightmare frame heading straight for them. Within, even Calvis seeing this, saying, "Another nightmare? Are they seriously just sending one?" Within, soon going through his computers and then his systems, realizing, what the? No way. He really did finish it. Within, Lelouch saying, what's going on? Calvin saying, damn it. Tell Lelouch, you need to get to the G1 base fast, now. Force Clovis to basically commit a ceasefire now, at once. And make sure you get there quietly without anybody noticing. Better yet, get out of your Sutherland and go straight for the base. Try and basically take a soldier's uniform and sneak onto it. But right now, we have a problem. Saying, and what is that? Lloyd just released his 7th generation Knightmare frame baby, otherwise known as the Lancelot, right at us. And I don't know if my mobile suits are able to handle that thing. Within, hearing that, Lelouch saying, you've got to be kidding me, saying no. And I was saying, go! Within, getting back on the comms with that of the resistance group and Ogi, saying, Ogi, right? You need to stop. Make sure you are all in hiding. Get out of your Sutherlands and get straight and find cover. If you see that of a white nightmare frame, don't engage. I repeat, don't engage. Within, the pompadour wearing resistance leader saying, what do you mean? A white nightmare frame? Within time, he's saying, the hell you mean? You think we can't handle it, saying? Do you really want to go against a 7th generation nightmare frame that can basically take you all out without even trying? Within, thinking, not to mention the devicer. Lloyd even said himself it was hard to find a damn devicer for that damn nightmare frame, given on how complex and overwhelming it is for the pilot. It was even the same for the damn club. But yet, he was able to find one out here of all places? Either they had to be one skilled soldier that Clovis would be stupid to basically allow pilot it, or within thinking, they're an honorary Britannian. Shit! They're Japanese! Within saying, like I said, don't engage. Everybody just get to somewhere safe. Regroup with one another. Just stay out of the battlefield. Within, Colin spoke up saying, then what about you, Ren? I'm going to stall it for time. To get time for that of Zero to take care of Clovis, after all. Within hearing this, Tamaki saying, you gotta be shitting me! Like hell that's possible! Just do it! After that, that's when Calvin heads straight for that of the Lancelot, with the Lancelot jumping around and heading straight for that of the battlefield. That's when he soon uses that of the sensors on that of the Lancelot's chest to feel that bullets heading straight for him, as he soon dodges the bullets by jumping around around that of the abandoned buildings before soon noticing the cavalry, but then saying, so there really is a flying Knightmare frame, but then realizing, wait, that Knightmare frame, it doesn't look like a Knightmare frame. But then thinking, that design, why does it look familiar? But then sending that of his miniature smart missiles at that of the Lancelot. But then the Lancelot using its blazing luminous shield to defend from the missiles as it's being sent back down to the ground. However, it soon dodges the other volley of missiles before then using his slash harkens to destroy the last remaining ones. But then saying, those moves, they're so quick and precise. Not to mention, they look familiar. Well, then going to the ground, dematerializing that of his machine guns before pulling out that of his twin swords. With then preparing to fight against that of Suzaku. However, Calvin is unaware that it is Suzaku. With then Suzaku seeing the weapons, saying, damn, the Lancelot doesn't barely have any weapons outside of the slash harkens. But that won't stop me. I will stop this damn terrorist! Within, the two begin to clash in the final battle between these two. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. Sorry to keep you guys on that of another cliffhanger with that of Suzaku and that of, well, Calvin basically fighting one another. Trust me, I want to make sure to do the battle right after all. Plus, I did so much more with that of the, well, introduction and battle with that in the Shinjuku battle after all. Just let you guys know, the last chapter would be the last thing that will basically involve that of, well, the Shinjuku massacre. Everything will go a lot more differently. And another heads up, you'll be finally meeting that of Calvis's personal knights once and for all. So yeah, at any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, keep you updated my videos upload to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, gaming channel, main channel, other channel, Patreon, and Cash App. All link in description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, hope you all take care.